Okay, everybody, and in today's video, what I am going to be explaining to you how to do is how to flush your coolant on your 2006 Ford Taurus. And I will explain to you guys right now why it is important. And one of the main reasons you want to change your coolant often is because it can ruin, if you don't change it, it can ruin the head gasket of the engine, which in this case, yeah, you see a little bit of leakage. Could be from anything. I mean, I got 200,000 miles on this freaking car. So, and the thermostat, is a little bit concerning to me. Got a original Motorcraft part on it, so the thermostat housing. But, that's something we could do later on down the line. So, there's the head of the block, right? Okay, we're not seeing any seepage of coolant around the head. Yes, you do see a little bit of seepage, but that's coming from the top. And this is where the valve cover gasket is. So in this car, the valve cover gasket is beginning to leak a little bit, okay? I've seen them leaking like that for years. So you don't really care about that until you start seeing it dripping on the freaking floor. So that is one of the things that you want to take care of with the coolant, because that can also, another thing that changing your coolant can do is clog those fins. And you don't want it to clog those fins, because if you clog those fins, what it could do is it can overheat the engine, and the bacterial chemicals that are inside of a coolant system, as they get old and they deteriorate, which can cause that to blockage up. So if you want to have a Ford Taurus that lasts years and years and years like Ryan, guess what you got to do? Change the coolant. And one of the other things you want to do is start the vehicle up and drive it to normal operating temperatures. And then what you do is you get a bottle. For this car, I have a bottle of distilled water. You also get the proper appropriate socket sets. And then what you do, you also, of course, get the coolant. And then what you'll do on these cars is there's a little plug on the bottom of the radiator, on the driver's side on this one. You take off the bolts for the belly pan, undo that little radiator drain plug, and there's also a block drain plug too that you want to pull out too. And for preventative maintenance, you also want to pull off that radiator hose and just make sure everything's out. And if you see the thermostat is clogged up like this one might be, if you're not lazy like me, it might not be a bad idea to fix it. So another thing that you want to get on when you do that is you want to get gloves on, and you want to get a garage shirt on too. So yes, so then what you do is you drain out, of course, all the radiator fluid, and make sure on top what you do is that you open up the reservoir too, and the drain plug. Because if you don't open the reservoir plug and the drain plug at the same time, there will be vacuum in the system, and it will cause burp pockets. And burp pockets can make your engine overheat. And it can also make it so the coolant doesn't appropriately come out. So you have to take the top part off, and you have to take the bottom part off. And then once that's all gone, you're going to start up the engine with running a garden hose through the system. And then once the garden hose is finished and the water has come out clean on the bottom, then what you do is you cover up the drain plug, and then what you'll do is you'll add the radiator flush kit. And then what you'll do is you'll let the engine idle for about 20 minutes for a deeper cleaning. What you'll do is you'll drive the engine around for about an hour. And also, when you add the radiator solution, you want to have the appropriate amount of fluid in the system. So In this car, it's 2 cords. Now, the radiator flush kit is 1 cord, so this means you want to have about a quart of distilled water in the system. And on a car like this, you might get your low coolant light on because the computer system cannot determine whether it's coolant or not. So then you drive it around a little bit like that. Then you drain the system out. And then what you do is you put the new coolant in the system. Of course, forget to put the drain plug on, right? No. So you fill the system up, and then you bolt it on, and then the job has been completed. And don't always use gloves, because, gloves are kind of liberally overrated. You don't really need gloves. Be a slob more often. So if you want more Ryan, like, comment, and subscribe.